Hey everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Ford News. I am Brian London. He is Jonathan Ford. And this week we have a very special guest. We're kind of taking a detour away from our normal spiel so we can bring on a very special guest. We're joined by the unbelievable actress and singer and advocate, Tori Keeth. Tori, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
So before we get into your story and why we really wanted to have you on, just for those of our audience that aren't familiar with your work, your artistic work, just give us a little run through everything you've done. Music, acting, obviously, but started off with born and raised where and headed to LA for all the big stuff. Just give us that rundown.
Yeah. Okay. So, hi, I'm Tori. I just turned 26. It was just my birthday. So, happy birthday to me. I'm from Seattle, Washington, born and raised. And when I was, like 9 or 10 years old, I was walking around our county fair and I was singing because obviously I sing nonstop. And someone pulled me aside and they were like, "Oh, do you want to audition for like this agency or whatever?" And I was like, "Can I sing?" And they were like, "Yeah." So long story short, I ended up winning this competition and begged my parents to come to LA and just like try it out because acting and singing is all I've ever wanted to do. I've been doing it since I could talk. So we did it. We moved here and now I've been here for 13, 14 years. And yeah.
So you've had a good amount of success, obviously, both acting wise, like we talked before the show. You're on one of my family's favorite shows, and in Henry Danger, it's kind of blowing my mind. And you've had some great music coming out for the last few years, putting out some new great stuff. So how has the growth been in the industry for you? Has it been tough? Has it gone the way you thought it would go? Have there been hills and valleys like everything else? What's it been like?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started with acting, my plan was always to do the whole like Selena Gomez thing, get successful in acting and use that as a stepping stone to just focus on music. And I was definitely like typecasted as a child, and I did a lot of Disney, Nickelodeon. That's how I got my start. Once I hit like 20, I was like, okay, I need to do more adult things. So I started auditioning more and doing more adult things like movies, CBS. I just did a show on, what's it called? HBO.
Ah, there you go.
I just did an HBO. I forget. I just did an HBO show, so that was fun. And during COVID, obviously the world shut down. We stopped filming Henry Danger, and I had nothing else to do except for sing and write. So that gave me the push to fully go into music, and I have not looked back. And I love it.
Yeah, no, there's that. Just to watch your stuff, just to listen to your music, you can tell that that your heart is in all of it, in the creativity, whether it's acting or music. So I want to play a clip. We wanted to play a clip from one of your songs. I think it's probably your most powerful song. That's just my humble opinion.
I think so too.
Called Poison. So we'll play a clip of that, and then we'll get into kind of what inspired that song and go from there. So let's do this.
And now it's June, you're waking up and it's summer and the sun is shining all on your skin. You soak it in your nice apartment with your girlfriend downtown. Your dog is asleep on the couch while I'm breaking down, 'cause my body knows the damn day that you stole the fucking life out of me. My mom and my sister sharing turns, taking a watch, staying awake in case my memory goes off.
Just really powerful, that song. And you could tell that it's touched a lot of people. I know that in talking before we started, you've talked about your fans that have been totally touched by the song. Talk about the inspiration to Poison, to that song.
Yeah, well, in 2020, I was raped by my childhood best friend, and it was by far the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And sorry, I get emotional talking about
Understandable,
this.
yeah.
Weird. During a lot of therapy, I went through months and months of very intense therapy. I realized that I can really get my emotions out and my feelings if I just sit down by myself and I just write whatever. So when I wrote Poison, I wrote it completely about my experience, and it flew out of me. Like, I did not have to think about it. I did not put any pressure on it. The song just came. It was all of my feelings. It was so therapeutic, and I never ever thought that I would ever release it, that anyone would hear it except for me. It was just a thing of, okay, this is just me. But after playing it for my mom and playing it for my very close friends, I realized I would be doing a very big disservice by keeping this in. And I've learned after releasing it how impactful it was. And yeah.
Yeah. So, Tori, this is Johnathan. So I was basically where I want to come in is that I first listened to your music, and the first song that I listened to was Moscato, of course, one of your, I think, most recent songs that you just put out. But I do want to say that at first, when I was talking to one of your friends and about you, and she was talking about your acting career, your music, and then she turned me on to your YouTube channel, and then of course I came across the song Poison, and that's what drawed me into you, that I needed as a platform, that I need to speak out more and advocate more for women that are subjects to rape, and that don't have a voice necessarily to come out, because we all know that the majority of rape victims don't come out. They don't ever speak out of their, and I think that's where you play an important role in possibly inspiring other women that are listening right now to come out and actually speak about this. And as you can tell, it's an emotional thing for me to make sure that women are able to do this. So the couple things that I want to talk about is there's a couple words in that I want you to kind of like speak about. Is you talked about the moment of bliss for that particular man was something that ripped your soul apart. What was going through your mind when you wrote those specific words in the song Poison?
So going back to what you said about so many women are not comfortable speaking out, I would like to give all of my credit of being so vocal to my mom. My mom was molested throughout her childhood. So I was always raised knowing that if I spoke up, that it would be heard and it would be completely believed and taken care of. So I was raised to be very vocal no matter what. And my heart breaks for the women that I've spoken to throughout all of this that don't have that safety net that I had and that I continue to have. The line, "I hope your moment of bliss was worth the death of my soul," was actually something that my mom said to me when she finally broke down and cried about all of this. She is the pillar of strength for me and has really helped me navigate everything. But there was one night I remember where she just broke, and what she told me that night is, it's 1 in 3 women that are raped. I thought I took the one because it's me, her, and my sister. So we were just talking about everything that happened. And she said it was just like he just saw an opportunity or had a moment where he could just finally do it, because we've been friends our entire lives. And that line came from her. because that's all I can think of it is just a selfish moment of only thinking about himself, and I was just an object. But I was an object that was kicking and screaming and fighting against it. So
Yeah, and you actually and then that kind of just leads into my next set of questions is, you said that he heard you say no, and I just want to know, like, when you're saying that, and this is actually, I know this is going to be a tough question, but I'm sure there's some things that rose through your mind, like, why me? That was going through your mind, and like emotionally, like, what was going through your mind for women that, and then not only what was going through your mind, but what empowerment do you see going forward of this experience that you had to encourage other women? Because you know that only 3 out of 10 women of rape actually come forward statistically, and I think that's absolutely shameful. That now in a day of age, that women don't feel safe enough, or that they're going to be believed, or that people are going to be there for them when they need them the most. And I just want your experience or your thoughts of, like, when you said no, for women that are out there that are listening right now, like, what was going through your head? And then the days after, what kind of thought process were you having on how you're going to come forward with this? And then whether you were going to be believed or not.
So I am, if you know anything about me, the first thing you should know is I am a very outspoken person. I'm very loud. I'm very opinionated, and I make what I want very, very clear. He came over. How this all happened is he came over. He was my best friend. I was back home in Seattle. I was going through a breakup, and I had just started dating the first girl I'd ever dated. And I was so excited to just sit with my best friend and tell him all about the breakup, tell him all about my new girlfriend. And all he wanted to do was kiss me and touch me. And I kept being like, no, stop. I have shit to tell you. Like, I have to update you on everything that's going on in my life. And like I said, I'm very opinionated and I get my way. But it wasn't stopping. And I think a lot of women can relate to the feeling of being so beaten down and so just not heard. Your voice is not being heard, that you kind of go numb and you completely just out of body and fight or flight. So when I say you heard me say no, I mean that, because I said no over the course of hours, and it would be like, well, why? Why can't we hook up? Why can't we hook up? And then it would get into, I would sit there and explain all of the reasons why. I had a girlfriend. I don't want to. You haven't been, I don't want to. And it got to a point where I was so battered and I was so beaten down emotionally that I just knew it was going to happen. And it proceeded, and I was able to get to my phone, and I texted my sister and I said, I need help. So I ended up leaving the room, and I came back in, and that's when he like fully raped me. And the aftermath of that, dealing with this has been, I think about it as like two separate things. It's going through the trauma of what happened to me, but it's also losing my lifelong best friend and having to sit with the fact that if this person who has loved me for so long and has put me on such an intense pedestal forever and has always been there and has through the however many years, it's mostly always been good. If he can do that to me, anyone can do that to me, and I'm terrified. So I think of it as two different things, the PTSD of that and also losing a friend. And so in the days after, it was very confusing because I knew what had happened to me, but I also didn't know. I didn't want to believe it. So I told my best friend, I said, something weird happened. Like, I don't really know how I feel about this. She came over, I told her. She looked at me with tears in her eyes and she said, he raped you. You were raped. I'm going to get mom. And so she went upstairs, told my mom, and immediately it was just, I was taken care of and I was believed. And I'm very, very fortunate. And I know that that is not the typical experience for a lot of victims. And yeah, I'm just very grateful. And I hope that this song can at least make someone feel like, oh, okay, I'm not fucking crazy. This wasn't my fault. And I believe you.
Tori, it's hard enough for anyone that goes through a trauma like this to try to recover, to try to get back to some sort of normalcy, to try to get back to a life that you want to live. Meanwhile, you're, kind of in the public eye. And, LA is not the easiest place to go through stuff. What has that been? Has that made it worse? Has that made it better? Is it, what's the obstacles involved in trying to get better, to try to kind of reclaim your soul in the middle of the spotlight?
Yeah, I mean, so this happened to me in Seattle. It was my childhood best friend from Seattle.
Right.
So I immediately, this makes me emotional. My mom has always told me, talk about it. You have a purpose. You have a voice that a lot of people don't have. Talk about it. A lot of people, with eyes on them and eyes specifically from my hometown, all of those people watching me, a lot of people wouldn't say anything, but my mom, it's not giving the permission, but I mean, it can be seen as something shameful. Everyone back home, seeing me being very outspoken. My mom has always applauded me and told me, fucking talk. Because that's what my mom did when she was raising us. She talked to the parents about how she is going about raising children as a victim herself and the safety precautions that she has to take. And I was very vocal about it. After I finally came to terms with it, which took a while, it took a lot of people my best friend, my girl best friend, Skylar, and my mom just validating what happened to me and kind of making me feel like it's real. And then there was an instance where he texted me and he was like, can I see you again? And Skylar took my phone and messaged him and said no, you raped me last night. And he texted back and he said, yes, I did. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did that. I was isolated by all of my childhood best friends in Seattle because they all took his side. And because I live in LA and I'm an actress and I'm expressive and vocal, a narrative started where basically a smear campaign started of, she's just dramatic. It's Tori. She's dramatic. That didn't happen. But very quickly after I came to terms with it, I started posting a lot on my Instagram. I did a lot of live streams, talks, rants about what it's like being a victim and just advocating for women. And I don't believe in God. But the University of Washington randomly reached out to me And they said I don't know how they found me, but they said, we would like you to be the spokesperson and advocate for our sexual assault awareness program. And I don't know how they found me, but my rapist went to UW and was currently enrolled in the University of Washington. And so I got to learn a lot more about the legalities and how to reach people with my story. And that kickstarted all of my advocacy.
Yeah, you've partnered with the organization RAIN. You've been such a great advocate. Just talk about what that does mean to you. And I'm sure you hear from people that you've touched, that you've helped through their own stories, and kind of that process of learning about other people's trauma and knowing that you've made a difference in their life.
I have a whole entire album in my phone of screenshots from my followers that are victims. One woman specifically, she has Poison as her anthem. And once the song came out, she was at the end of court, in a court case against her rapist. And she told me that the day that he was convicted, she woke up, she had to go to the hearing, read her victim impact statement, and she was listening to Poison the entire time. And she came home and she messaged me and she said, he's in fucking jail. He's gone. And so she continued to blast Poison. And I've gotten to hear from so many people on how it has brought these very difficult feelings to it. Like, I don't know how to fully express with words what it feels like to have that part of you stolen. Somehow, I don't know how, but I was able to write a song about it that kind of perfectly explains it. But I always say, like, all of my words went into that song, and now I don't really know how to speak about it because I put all my energy into that. You can listen to it, whatever. But yeah, so many incredible responses and people telling me and responding to some of my advocacy work and saying, wait, that's rape? That's considered rape? Oh my God. Educating people is massive to me because it's not sexual assault is not a cut and dry thing. There are so many layers of it that people don't understand. And yeah, sorry, I keep going on tangents. Just
That's
Totally
okay.
good.
For anybody, I think Tori's cutting herself a little bit short as far as musically with the song Poison. She said go listen to it, whatever. I suggest everybody to go to her YouTube channel right after this, after you're watching this, and actually listen to the song
go to my
Poison.
Spotify and my
Yes.
Oh,
Apple
Spotify.
Music.
Yeah, Spotify and also Apple Music. I'm sure it's probably on there as well.
It's on everything.
Yeah, so go to her Spotify, go to her Apple, but listen to the song. She's cutting herself completely short. It is literally one of the most emotionally impacting songs that I've heard in a long time. It definitely tells a complete story of what she went through. But Tori, my next question is the Tori Keith of today, strong, vibrant, really outspoken. Just a little bit of shorter time that I've gotten to know you. What would you tell the Tori Keith the day after the rape?
I would tell myself not to doubt or downplay my experience, because once I did that and I lived the first few months of kind of, I mean, I was in a, obviously my brain did this. I was in a state of protecting myself, but it took me a while to fully digest what happened to me and actually label it as rape. My mom, my sister, everyone labeled it as rape. And I was like, you guys are being so dramatic. Like, you guys are being really dramatic. That's not what happened. I just would tell myself that yeah, that fucking did happen. And the world is shitty and there are some very terrible people out there. But you will make something so much better of it, and you will do so much more with your life than he will ever do. And he hopefully will wake up every morning feeling scared shitless that police are going to show up at his door again. And that, to me, I don't know if it's healthy, but the thought of him feeling fear makes me feel very okay, because I wake up every day and I feel like I carry this like cloak of trauma with me. So yeah, I would just say trust yourself, believe yourself, and don't make excuses for other people.
Tori, as much as we've advanced as a society to understand this issue and be supportive of victims and realize this is a problem, still there's plenty of cases, whether it's on Wall Street, in politics, and I'm sure in Hollywood and acting or in music, where people that are perpetrators that have done this to other people keep moving forward in their career. They aren't hindered by it at all. That has to be something that still needs to be worked on. That it's just not. It seems really unfair for someone to get promoted or have more success after they've absolutely traumatized someone in this way.
It's crazy, and it is so disheartening. And yeah, it just doesn't seem like there are repercussions. And this angers me so much, but I feel like every part of everything, socially, politically, legally, we need to move forward with this and start supporting and believing victims. The first time that I went to the police and I made a police report on the rape, it was about like a year afterwards. The police officer on the phone the detective told me, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if this will like go through. And I said, wait, I have a text proof of him admitting that he raped me. And they said, yeah, that's not enough. I have my gynecologist that I went to 2 days later and was confirmed that I was raped. If that's not enough, then what the fuck is enough? What the fuck is enough evidence? And that frustrates me, and it is so sad how little women are believed and how little the system cares.
So, Tori, like, what I just want to know, and kind of my closing question with this is just like, what has that done with your trust towards men? And what type of, like, what do you think about? What's in the back of your mind? Because I'm sure there's incidents where you've had that thought or that reliving that rape with men around you. And it kind of goes into the saying that like women have is like, we trust the bear more than we do men. And I just kind of want to get what your thoughts are is basically like the bear versus the men theory.
I would hug a bear before anything else. It has, and I think that's the thing that I am the most angry about, is the way that it has flawed isn't the right word, but it has completely clouded the way that I look at the world. And after, I don't know how much time we have, but after the first rape, which I sing about in Poison, I had done so much healing and therapy, and I was feeling very good. And I was feeling like I could trust people again. And then I was raped again. And this time I had kind of looked at the first rape as, okay, maybe I could have done something more. Maybe I could have done something more, which is so wrong. You never can. And so this time I was kicking and screaming and punching and running. and it still happened. And that's when I fully hit rock bottom, because I was like, okay, I just started to trust people again, and this happened to me again. What's the fucking point in living? And that was a very rough time. But I urge any victims to get in therapy and do EDMR therapy. That saved my life. It has helped me so much in my healing, and not every day is the same. Some days I wake up and I'm like, wow, I'm a fucking victim. And I feel it. I feel it in my bones. And some days I wake up and I'm like, I'm a survivor, and I want to raise fucking hell for all of the men that hurt women. It just, there's no, I don't know. It's different, but yeah, it's completely clouded my judgment, and it's probably stopped me from a lot of good things, because I don't have that trust. And I feel like it has given me a very, what's the word? Cynical, a very cynical outlook on men. I find myself, if my friends are talking about their relationship issues, I'm like, just dump him. Like, he's probably actually doing like really bad things behind your back. I'm just cynical, and that's fine. I can live with that. But yeah, it has affected all of the areas in my life, socially, romantically. There are a lot of triggers, but through therapy, I have learned how to take care of those. And I know when I need to be gentle with myself and comfort myself and just have a bad day.
Tori, for people like Johnathan and myself that want to be allies and want to support victims, what's the best way to get involved? What's the best way to help?
Just be an active bystander. If you're out in public and you see a girl with a man and kind of acting a little, just be an active bystander. Pay attention to the women that you are surrounded by, whether you're at a bar, whatever. Pay attention to who they're with. If she looks uncomfortable, if she looks unsafe, I think that that's the best way. And if someone comes to you and they tell you, I think I had a weird encounter with so-and-so, listen, ask questions, be interested, and you don't have to have the right thing to say, but just say something.
Yeah, so just kind of just wrapping up, and what I want all the viewers out here on X and anybody that follows, of course, Tori, is to know, stop it. Let's stop denying women. Let's stop not believing women. I'm going to be here throughout the remainder of my time on life, advocating for women and being allies as far as rape victims or sexual abuse victims. But it's time for even men to step forward and actually take some voice and providing, so that women feel more comfortable coming out, because women can't do this alone, or any rape victim can't do this alone. They need advocates out there, and they need people that's gonna spread a voice and going to recognize these type of disgusting behaviors. So I just have one word out there for my fellow men out there that have ever been a rape apologist, have ever been a sexual abuse apologist. Fucking stop. The time now is to end it. And normally I don't say the F word very often, but I'm fucking done with it. And I'm going to continue to be here to support you, Tori, just like my text messages to you. And it's been an absolute privilege to get to know you today, and to have this interview actually on my birthday has been one of the greatest experiences that I've had. And I'm just honored to share that with you and Brian.
Thank you. And everyone, please stream Poison, because 100% of the proceeds that the song makes are going back to victims. I partnered with an incredible organization that is actively working with the law to change things and help victims. They have an amazing chat line that I've used myself on many, many hard nights. So every time anyone streams Poison on any platform, that is money that is going directly back to victims. I'm not making a dime from this song.
Tori Keeth, you're amazing. Your strength is amazing. Your resiliency is amazing. And your artistry is amazing as well. So we appreciate you joining us today. We hope you'll come back sometime and give us an update.
Whenever.
Don't tempt Johnathan with a frequent guest situation.
I'll be a host.
Yeah, well, I'll get out of here then. But Tori, thank you so much. We look forward to everything that's coming down the pipe with you artistically and also with your advocacy as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you for giving me this platform to talk about it, and thank you for being allies.
Anytime. That'll do it for us on this special edition of Ford News.